so important to open the door between the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and to rewrite that program. If you're in beta brainwave pattern, or if you're in your conscious mind and you're trying to change something subconsciously.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Steve Doherty. Welcome to the Pacific Channel. In this audio clip, a woman named Naigal from Portugal asked Dr. Joe Dispenza 3 questions. Now, to be honest, I have a hard time understanding her accent, and the questions aren't super clear, and so I don't understand all of them exactly, so I will do my best to clarify them, but I might be wrong. Her first question is, and this is summarized because I think this is accurate. Why do we take so long to reprogram our body and mind? This is after she says that she did an experiment to see how long it took her brain to realize that she moved a clock from the wall in front of her to a wall to her left. Dr. Joe will explain this. But then her second question is, and I'll first state it exactly as she said it, if I have more vibration, will this reprogramming the cellular upgrade be much faster? I think what she means by this is, if she elevates her vibration to its highest level, will she then be able to heal herself much faster? Then her third question is, and again, I'll say it exactly as I think she said it, being alone, is it possible to raise our frequency to the highest levels? I think she asked this third question because she wants to know if she needs to be in a group or not to raise her vibration to its highest levels. In other words, can she raise her vibration to its highest levels without a group? Right? We all kind of want to know that question. These are all very good questions, but what I have found is that if you're ever in a position where you're going to ask a question of a teacher like Dr. Joe, just ask one question at a time and make it really clear, because asking him 3 questions at once is kind of hard for him to answer them all. And so you can see how he sort of grapples with this in this audio clip. So Dr. Joe focuses on the first question, but I don't think he really answers the other 2. I'll try to answer the other 2 at the end of this video. In answering the first question, Dr. Joe is going to talk about habits and how the body can memorize something better than the brain or the mind. But also he's going to talk about how it does take a considerable amount of time, energy, and effort to break an old habit. Right? He said that many times. So this wall of the clock example ends up getting used as a good analogy of how it takes time, energy, and practice to break the habit of being ourselves. Break the habit of our old programming that the body wants to hold on to so it can experience the familiar addictive chemicals that we normally create with our normal negative thinking. So it's like our body is addicted to these chemicals that we create through our emotions, and it will help us or force us to remember certain things in our past that bring up those chemicals. It's kind of crazy how the body can do that, right? So next Dr. Joe is going to give the example of a cut on your finger or somewhere else, and how we all know that it normally takes a good amount of time for it to completely heal. And yet many people get impatient with meditation and don't allow themselves time to do it. But at the same time, I hate to keep harping on this, something like EFT can work a lot quicker, but meditation in some ways can work deeper. He also talks about how when the body starts to be programmed for so many things in our lives, that we can be much more unconscious than conscious. He doesn't quite say this, but it's almost like we become zombies, just going through automatic, habitual actions in our lives without any conscious effort. Let's let Dr. Joe explain all of this now, and then we'll discuss it further, and I'll try to answer the additional 2 questions.
We have a question from Naigal from Portugal, and she says, I've been following you for 2 years. I study, I do the meditations. I feel like an improved, lighter version. I've already cured myself of 2 malignant nodules in the thyroid, and I am still healing my liver. I decided to do a simple test. On the wall in front of me, where I work on the computer, I have a wall clock. I decided to move it to the wall to the left. It took 2 weeks for my brain to remember that the clock is now in another place. That made me reflect. Why do we take so long to reprogram our body and mind? If I had more vibration, this reprogramming, the cellular upgrade, would be much faster, or am I wrong? Being alone, is it possible to raise our frequency to the highest levels? Thank you for this opportunity.
I love that question. So great. First of all, congratulations on healing yourself of certain health conditions. I know that it takes an enormous amount of energy and awareness to change that. And where do I start here? The fact that you understand that it takes quite a while to break a habit should help you understand that when you're breaking the habit of being yourself, you're going to go unconscious for a long time. And it's the mistakes that you make where you catch yourself that is actually the process of transformation and change. I know this from experience. Unless you have a really profound transcendental moment that changes you on a visceral level, the navigation in three-dimensional reality is really about breaking certain patterns and breaking certain subconscious programs and habits. So there's a teaching right here that's really fascinating. So a habit is a redundant set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that's acquired through doing it a lot of times, through repetition. I mean, if you keep doing something so many times, it's almost like the body automatically remembers it better than your brain or your mind. And the problem with that is we got a lot of those by the time we are in the middle of our lives. So much so that we could actually go unconscious most of the time. And this is where you start forgetting your keys, or you don't know if you shut something off, and you're pretty much running a constant program. So in habituation, one of the things that's interesting is that the body's programmed. If you do it every day and you keep doing it every day, it will keep doing it every day because it's the unconscious mind. It'll do whatever you train it to do. So if you're used to looking at the clock somewhere and it's no longer there, it speaks volumes about just habits we want to change in the same way, based on a thought that we're thinking, or based on a response that we have to someone or something, or a memory, or speaking a certain way. All of those things take a lot of conscious awareness, and when you have conscious awareness, it means you're going to have a lot of energy. You're going to have to manage your attention and manage your energy. So the fact that it took so many days to break that habit should tell us what it really takes to break the habit of being ourselves. And we're not just talking about looking at a clock. We're talking about how we think, act, and feel. It's so important to understand that the brain, when it's in habituation, is expecting the same. Basically, the body's programmed and it's doing what it automatically does all the time. The process of change is exactly what you did. You caught yourself enough times, and how many times do you have to forget until you stop forgetting and you start remembering? For me, that's really the moment where I'm changing. That's where I'm like, I got this. I'm not going to forget anymore. I finally got it. Okay, I think I can do it better now. I think I can do it all the time. I mastered it. And a lot of people, I think, get entitled, and I think they get a little impatient, and they think they do their meditation once or twice, and then they expect thunder and lightning to hit, and that's kind of not how it works. It's that actually overcoming process that's actually causing something else in them to bloom, that restraint. So we see this with health conditions too. I mean, you have to be realistic. I mean, same thing as a habit. If you cut your finger, or you had a bruise, or you hurt a part of your body, and it's going to heal. It's not like the cut or the scab is there one day and then it just goes away the next day. It's gone the next day. Now that's happened in this community, but it's not something that typically happens. It takes time, right? So the body has some work to do in releasing the right pharmacy of chemicals and innately doing what it does to repair that cut. And if it's not a cut, but it's a tumor, it's going to take some time for the tumor to get reprogrammed. And so, of course, it makes sense the greater level of consciousness that we're at, the less unconscious we are. And so 5% of our brain and conscious mind is who we are. 95 is what we program subconsciously. Changing our brain waves and learning how to get beyond the analytical mind and practicing that is so important to open the door between the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and to rewrite that program. If you're in beta brainwave pattern, or if you're in your conscious mind and you're trying to change something subconsciously, you're out of the operating system. It's like when you got the spinning ball on your computer and it's doing something, and you're the conscious mind. You're yelling at the computer to stop. That's your conscious mind, and it's programmed subconsciously. Got to get in the operating system to change that. So that's exactly what meditation is. And so when we get beyond the analytical mind and we're relaxed and we're present and our brain is in a different brainwave state, it's in a more alpha state, it's more imaginative. It's more based on scenes and dreams and images, but not like a dream like you're dreaming. It's just that your brain's creating. It's in a creative state. So when the door between the conscious mind, the subconscious mind open up, while you're conscious, when most people are unconscious and you're in that operating system, you can rehearse a new program. You can rehearse a new way to be. You can plan a new behavior. You can reprogram it because you're in that operating system. And so when it's no longer, when meditation is no longer about doing it to create the miracle you want in your life, when the meditation becomes about staying conscious through the whole entire meditation, every single step that you're doing it, you're present with, and you have a meaning or an intention behind why you're doing it. If that is you reminding yourself to remember that the clock is no longer there before you start your day, and you keep reminding yourself before you start your day that the clock is on the wall, I think that, and to remind yourself to not look at where it typically was, remind yourself that you're not going to do that over and over again, and then remind yourself that you're going to look at the wall when you're sitting at your desk. I guarantee you that the more you remind yourself of that, the shorter amount of time it would take from those 20 days or however long it was, I think it was 20 days, you could actually probably do it in 10. And if you did really, 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 really wanted it, and that was your whole ambition for the entire day, just to master that, I guarantee you can do it even in less time. And if you get good at doing that, just reminding yourself to not do that and remind yourself to do something else, I say that if you keep practicing that, you can use that in any area of your life, whether it's looking at a clock or complaining or making excuses or judging someone or reacting emotionally to the same person. This is the work. This is what the meditation is about. The meditation is about, so when you open your eyes and you're in this three-dimensional reality that is one of infinite number of universes, that you're executing exactly the way you want. And you're actually living the life that you want to live. And you got to disconnect from your life in order to remember. And you got to stop thinking about people and objects and things and places. And you got to stop thinking about your body and its pain and its drives and all that stuff. And you got to forget about time. I mean, that's what we've discovered. And that's when we see some of the greatest changes in the brain. So I say that if you practice that with the same thing every single day, you just wanted to work on one thing in particular, one at a time, I would say that you would wind up in another universe. You would wind up in another dimension seamlessly because you'd make a different choice. And instead of making the same choice, you wind up in that future. The series of different choices that you make causes you to ultimately get to the future where you don't look at the computer to see the time. You actually look at the wall because you've actually changed yourself in some way.
So Dr. Joe takes this analogy of the clock on the wall and basically tells this woman named Nigel that if she intended on it strongly enough, she could cut the time it took her to remember that the clock was on the other wall in half or even shorter. And the way to do that is to remind yourself beforehand, right? To be conscious. This is where we get into the power of intention. You can intend on being more aware and intend on being more present and intend on being more conscious than unconscious. It also has a lot to do with desire. If Nigel really, really wanted to, She could program herself almost right away or instantly with a new location of the clock, in this example, and never forget. But for a while, she would have to be 100% conscious and never go unconscious when it came to the clock. But this isn't just about clocks, of course. It's a great analogy to use for any program or bad habit that we want to break, according to Dr. Joe. So you can use it in any area of your life, whether it's looking at a clock or complaining or making excuses or judging or reacting emotionally. This is how to take control of your life and create the reality that you want. This is why this is such a great question. You take conscious control of your mind, brain, and body and stop reacting to the external conditions in your life, and instead live more from the quantum field of potential and your future, the vision that you have for yourself. So to make this clear and to put it into practical terms, we have to stop letting the problems in our lives get to us. Stop worrying about your health, your bills, your payments, and all of the external trappings that keep us limited and stuck in this 3D matrix. Dr. Joe then says that if you do this, then you'll wind up in another universe, another dimension seamlessly. So this clock analogy is actually a really good one to make all these points. But she also asks, if I have more vibration, will this reprogramming the cellular upgrade be much faster? In other words, I think she's asking, if she raises her vibration, will she heal herself more quickly? I'd say yes, of course. All of this is about raising your vibration. The higher and longer you can raise your vibration, the better. When you raise your vibration, you become a vibrational match to all that you want. But the thing is, your vibration is naturally high. You were born with a high vibration. So many people miss this point. It's not that you need to be doing more to raise your vibration. It's that you need to be doing less to stop doing the things that you normally do that keep your vibration low. For example, worrying about anything will lower your vibration. Complaining about anything will lower your vibration. Easily getting upset and angry will lower your vibration. Thinking bad thoughts about yourself will lower your vibration. So what do? Stop it. Stop. all the negative thinking that causes you to become out of alignment with who you really are. Be good to yourself. Meditate more, take nice walks, get a massage, and eat out more often. Naigel's third question is, and I will state it exactly as she stated it, being alone, is it possible to raise our frequency to the highest levels? So what I think she's really asking here is, do I have to be in a group to raise my frequency to its highest levels, or could I do it on my own? This is actually a really good question, and I asked the same thing to a couple of the best law of attraction teachers that I know about, and I got two totally different answers. One said that it's easier with a group, and the other said that you can do it yourself, and it keeps you from having to be dependent upon others when it comes to your vibration. I prefer to believe the latter idea, that you can raise your vibration to its highest levels on your own, although I've personally seen how it does seem to be easier when you're with a group. I think the best goal for you and me is to try it both ways, but your ultimate goal should be to master it on your own, to not be dependent upon anyone else. And don't forget that you are a powerful, spiritual, divine being. If you like this video, please hit that like button, and to be entered into our drawing for the next Dr. Joe Dispenza week-long workshop, please share this with 5 of your friends. To me, this is very important information for those who are already attracting it and ready for it. This is a new way of taking control of your health and your life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.